Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Breckenridge Social Equity and Advisory Commission meeting for September 17th. And then now just a roll call, but I can do that.
I can do that.
It's not ready. Yeah.
Chair Jordan Burns.
Present.
Council Liaison Carol Sade.
Here.
Commissioner Isaura Cirillo. She will be absent today. Commissioner Jotuan Daniels.
Present.
Commissioner June Walters.
I'm here.
Commissioner Ujala Batas. Commissioner Michelle Mahoney.
Present.
Commissioner Abigail Martinez.
Present.
Perfect. And then do we need a discussion or can we approve the agenda from last month? I need a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
I second that motion.
Wonderful. And then do we need further discussion or can we approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
I move to approve. Second.
Perfect. Thank you both so much. And then into our staff summary for
Yeah. And I'm gonna do these in English and Spanish, so bear with me because it'll go back and forth. So I wanted to share, Scott, since you have the mouse over there, you mind sharing the screen and then sharing a video that should be on there. Our Pedal Together, as you know, has been a great success. Thank you, Jala, and the civic engagement team and the other partners that have made it possible. It's been so successful. We had two people learn how to ride a bike for the first time ever. Like they had no idea. And within the session, they were able to walk out of there not only riding a bike, but also with a bike. Como saben, en nuestro programa de Pedaleamos Juntos ha sido todo un éxito. Las personas han aprendido a montar bicicleta. 2 personas que nunca habían montado bicicleta antes, después de una sesión solamente, salieron de ahí no solamente montando bicicleta, sino también con una bicicleta para practicar. And so we just wanted to show you this video that we made. We wanted to post it all on social media and just continuing to share the partnership that we had. Rich from Avalanche Sports was wonderful. He provided the equipment, had everything ready for us every single session. And our open space and trails staff, Alex, Duke, and Tony were there as well, helping people and getting them to different trails. So having the ability to have the different levels and people challenge themselves in the different levels was really good. También les queremos mostrar este video que tenemos, que hicimos para dejarles saber a la comunidad del programa, pero más que nada agradecer a nuestros compañeros o las personas que hicieron esto posible. Especialmente a Rich con la compañía de Avalanche Sports, que nos prestó las bicicletas gratuitamente y nos las tenía listas cada sesión. Y también a las personas del departamento de senderos abiertos. Ellos estuvieron ahí cada vez dándonos la oportunidad de tener diferentes niveles y que las personas puedan aprender algo nuevo, no importa el nivel que tenían. So let's watch it.
It's cute. Let's go.
Yeah, so thank you. And when you see it on social media, please like and share. So gracias y cuando lo vean por los medios de Facebook o Instagram, denles un me gusta y compartan. Our next one is our Housing Education Initiative. We just wanted to give you an update on how that was going. The Housing Department and the Community Outreach and Engagement Department are working together, and they've established a plan on what's going to happen. So they're gonna, because the runway is coming up soon and we want people who might be prepared to really be able to apply for the lottery, they're gonna start with a homeownership kind of class first.
Okay.
So también queríamos dejarles saber sobre la iniciativa de educación sobre vivienda. Ya los departamentos de vivienda y los departamentos de comunicación del pueblo se juntaron para crear un plan y el plan es que la primera fase va a ser en cómo se puede preparar la comunidad para comprar un hogar, dado a que queremos que estén listos para el proyecto o el vecindario de Runway. So they're already looking at dates, and as you have in the packet, kind of the idea of what the class will look like. It sounds like it's going to be a great resource, but still keeping it kind of fun, not so much of like an actual like 2-hour class, but like a really intro, getting them thinking, getting them going, and then getting them connected with the housing authority. And so when the memo was written, it wasn't confirmed that the Summit County Combined Housing Authority was officially a partner, but hopefully they will be. And then we're also going to ask CMC if hopefully they will also participate and help us with that and host us at their campus. But yeah, we're still working on that, but it's on its way. There's a plan and it's good to go. And we're going to have it both in English and Spanish.
That's a clarifying question. With this housing education initiative, this is the housing department of the town of Breckenridge trying to enter into an agreement with Summit County Combined Housing Authority to offer housing education classes specific to the Runway neighborhood.
Kind of, yeah. So it's not specific to the runway. Like there will be
Generalized.
other general information that someone could benefit regardless of runway, but it will be a good timing for runway so that people can prepare. And there will be a little bit of that like deed restriction,
Right.
our programs, because we will be primarily hosting it, putting that information out there as well. So kind of like a brief overview of that, but mostly
Okay.
what do you need to prepare to buy a home? And so that could be Runway or that could be somewhere else too, if you're already ready and good to go. Or
Is
you're
County
not. and you
Housing
need
Authority
more.
still doing those? I remember when they used to be housed right next door to us, they used to offer these sorts of classes. Is this a revital, you know what I mean? A restructuring of those classes that they used to offer?
No,
Or
so
is this something completely
this is
separate and
yeah,
unique?
completely
That was
separate
what
and
was
unique.
Thank
Yeah,
you for that
they
clarity.
will still offer theirs. We just have found that those classes are
Mm-hmm.
a little too late by the time that people are wanting to buy. And so this will be a good opportunity to get them going and thinking before, and then knowing if they're ready or not and taking the right steps. So kind of a before that class.
Awesome.
And hopefully the housing authority sees its value and maybe they can start offering more of these. I mean, we're happy to continue to do it, but ultimately we would love for the housing authority to take it over so that they can
For sure.
keep doing this work and across the county and for all different projects and all the time. So that would be ideal. Hold on, let me just go back to Spanish. So quería también dejarles saber que tendrán una clase para preparar a las personas. Ahí pueden encontrar la información sobre lo que la clase incluye y la información que van a dar. Están esperando que la autoridad de vivienda del condado también ayude y continúe los programas al futuro. Jotuan preguntó si estos programas iban a continuar o iban a ser parte del programa que ya tienen la autoridad de vivienda y la respuesta es que no, pero estamos esperando que con esto vean el valor de lo que hace y ayuda a las personas a comprar antes de su clase de ellos y entonces ellos puedan seguir adelante y ofrecerlo todo el tiempo para todos los proyectos y todo tipo de personas. Okay.
The only slight minor correction I would have on there, Joe Twan, is just that it's actually the Summit Combined Housing Authority is not a county entity. The
That's what
county,
I was wondering.
yeah, so the county and all the towns are contributing to the Combined Housing Authority.
Okay.
So it's called the Summit Combined Housing Authority.
The communities are.
Correct. So the towns are part of that. I just want to make sure that's clear. So it's not It's not going to deferring to the county in that case, but it's everyone collectively is trying to encourage that education across the board to all towns.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
So I guess my only question with this would be, will these courses just be in person? Because if they are, can they be recorded? Or can the slides that are involved be translated and available online through just like a website? I'd say anything without email access. It's like not something you like sign up for through email and they email you out the slides, but just something that exists as like a PDF that you could download on your own.
And the goal is to have the Summit Combined Housing Authority be that clearinghouse for every. So yes, these will be recorded and placed in a place where it can be downloaded. You will not need to be in attendance to benefit from the information.
And in addition, we're also planning to do videos that kind of give an overview of the information, but in a shorter frame, and that it's like a series. So those will be available on our YouTube page to anyone who would want that as well.
Perfect. I just want to make sure that those who can attend, just due to their time schedule or just with how current things are currently, just
Yeah.
being present is a little bit difficult for some of our community members. But if this is of interest, it's always it's just good education for those who are looking to buy houses. Carol, did you have anything to add?
No questions on this topic.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carol. I didn't
So-
want to forget you up there.
Sorry, Carol, I totally, with me having to interpret, forgot, did you want to add your points?
Yeah, so on a different topic, thank you, Floor. I wanted to just quickly acknowledge and touch on what happened in our community yesterday. It impacted an important and a huge part of our community in one way or another. And especially the community members, their family, their friends that were directly impacted. And we know that our local immigrant families, they're so essential to this community. They contribute so much. We're going to be looking over the Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation that'll touch on just some of the contribution of immigrants. So with all of this, I know we all want to talk about what happened and our response. And I just want to make sure that this commission has a productive conversation and we're thoughtful about the discussion in a formal capacity here in this commission. So with that, I think it's important that we have an item on the agenda for our next meeting where we can have a full conversation. Excuse me. We will have Keely here, our town attorney, so she can help guide us on what we can do in this role. So keeping in mind that we'll have a deep dive next meeting. The town council will talk about this on Tuesday at our council meeting. So I wanted to check in with you all, our commissioners, to see if you have any initial or high level thoughts that you want me to pass on to the full council. But let's keep that discussion of specifics for that next meeting when we can have an organized deep dive conversation, because that's very important to me. That's very important to the town. Floor, do you have anything to add? Sorry, Floor's translating too. You're amazing, Floor.
No, just, yeah, acknowledging and taking a moment to thank our community, right? I
Mhm.
think the word gratitude keeps coming up. So let's be thankful for all of our immigrant community members that make a lot of the things we have possible. And taking that moment to think of them and being grateful because they're going through a lot right now. So keep that in mind.
Carol, thank you for breaching this thread of the conversation tonight too. I was actually going to bring up a similar topic of discussion for our other matters. To ask the commission to thoughtfully consider some things for our next meeting. very excited that we will have more time to have a deep dive on topics such as what is currently happening in our communities right now. So thank you.
Ditto.
Yeah, thank you, Antoine.
Um, I think, I think any conversation may be just best to continue to grow our own thoughts until next meeting, and speak more with our friends in that community to kind of understand kind of what our best, I guess, really use our networks and to better understand for each of ourselves what has been happening, to have that really deep conversation next month, if that's okay with everyone.
That's a great point, Jay. Thank you.
Yeah, it just feels like everything's so fresh, that like understanding the full aspect and effect of everything that's happened over the last few days and weeks just may take some time, and will just give us a chance to reach out to all of our networks and have a more full conversation, knowing that that's what's going to be one of our topics next month.
I just want to state on the record that Mountain Dreamers is amazing. Peter and his crew did a fantastic job. So just to spin a little positivity on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very thankful for, I'm just very thankful for our community and everyone here, and I know that everyone in our community has so much value to not only themselves but to their families and to the greater Summit County as a whole, that I couldn't just, all of the things that happen are just sad, for the lack of better words at the moment. But I do look forward to finding out ways that we as a commission can continue to support and uplift and educate through the channels that we have, what's going on in our community. And unfortunately, it's not the most positive thing, but we can turn this negative into a positive way of supporting our community by the means that we have. Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. Then moving on to our next topic of the evening. We do have May Watson from the town of Breckenridge, the town clerk for Municipal Government Basics. Hi, May.
I should have a presentation. If you open,
You can scroll too.
Sorry, there's another tab here. Oh, this?
I also have it saved if you go to the file folder.
It's like it's in our agenda on the bottom.
But it's.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Thank you. And then I will hit.
Today, May.
Going good.
Awesome.
Yep, you want to drive? It's definitely better than me driving.
Everyone see that? One quick question. Floor, what would you need me to do for translation?
To slow down and to take breaks.
Okay,
So yeah, and then make sure you speak into the microphone.
cool. Perfect. Hello. Thank you guys so much for inviting me to come speak to you today. I'm very excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this for a while. So I'm very passionate about this topic, so we get to do it. So today I'm just going to present to you the basics of municipal government. And I appreciate your patience. Government is a very complicated topic, and there's a political science side to government, and then there's a functional side to government. So I want to preface this by saying I'll be focusing on the political science side. Mhm. So, I am the town clerk for the town of Breckenridge. And the reason I am speaking to you today is because of the role that I serve. My job is required by state law for every town to have. And I like to say we grease the wheels of government function as a way to summarize it. So some of the things I do in my day-to-day are I am the recorder for town council proceedings. I am the custodian of town records and town code. The funnest part, liquor, marijuana, and tobacco licensing. We have a cemetery in town limits, so I also go mark graves. One of the key roles is I'm the designated election official for town of Breckenridge town elections. I publish our legislative items, ordinances, resolutions I'll discuss more tonight, and so much more.
A question.
Of course.
What mountain are you on?
That is Mount Sherman. I am a 14er climber, so I don't remember how many I've done.
That was my next question.
So tonight's topics, we're going to touch very, very briefly on federalism. We're going to overview government structure and jurisdiction. We're going to review the authority, roles, and powers, types of meetings, agenda packets for town council. And then we'll review legislative items. And then I'll briefly touch on town of Breckenridge staff and departments. So federalism is the structure the US government follows. So the entirety of the USA. And it means that there are multiple levels of government that have power and control over the same territory and people. These powers are divided and they can also be shared between the different levels of government. And then people are subject to the laws at each level. So this means if you live in town of Breckenridge, you have to follow their laws. You live in Summit County too, you have to follow their laws. You have to follow state of Colorado laws. And then the last one is the federal laws. One of the most complicated and often gray areas concept I think of government is jurisdiction.
Mm.
And jurisdiction is essentially who, what, where a government can exercise its power and authority. And jurisdiction is really dependent on three main things. The first thing is its territorial borders. So the photo to the left is the black line. It's kind of hard to see. My apologies.
That's okay.
Is Summit County borders. And then the itty bitty red spot to the bottom is Town of Breckenridge town limits. And so these are just the borders of a town, county, or state, and country. The next thing that jurisdiction includes is powers specifically granted or assumed
Mm.
through law. So the US Constitution specifically grants the powers to the state of Colorado and all the states. The Colorado State Constitution grants authority to towns and counties. Well, towns specifically for Article 20. There is also something for home rule towns, which I will talk about later, called a home rule charter. That kind of think of it similar to a town constitution, I think is the best way to explain it. And that also tells the town of Breckenridge what powers they have, therefore their jurisdiction. And then the gray area is the subject matter of what is being regulated and mandated. And so I'm going to switch to the next slide. So the first jurisdiction is matters of statewide concern. So these are issues that the state of Colorado has the ultimate power to mandate and regulate the matter. I also want to note we are mostly focusing on the state and local powers now, not discussing federal as much. So in matters of statewide concern, town laws cannot conflict with state law. We must follow state law. A great example of this is hunting and fishing laws. So Colorado Parks and Wildlife is the state agency that regulates the statewide concern. Wildlife move. Therefore, that's why they don't care about our town limits. That's why they are of a statewide concern. Same goes for driver's license and vehicle registrations. Your car drives around the state and you have a state of Colorado driver's license, not a town of Breckenridge. On the flip side is matters of local concern. This is where something called a home rule local government has the ultimate power to mandate and regulate the matter. And town laws can conflict with state law in this instance and can override state law. It has precedence over state law is a better way to say that. An example of this is town elections. And then the most complicated one is matters of mixed state and local concern. And so this is where state and town governments share the power to mandate and regulate the matter. And so local law must follow state law. We can't conflict. But we can have some additional requirements. A great example of this is liquor licensing. So if you had a restaurant and you wanted to serve alcohol, you have to get a license from the state and a license from the town. And we follow state law with our liquor licensing, but we also have our additional checklists. You'll have to go talk to other town departments and have a checklist completed by the town as part of our additional example of an additional requirement. How is something determined? The kind of matter it is? Is it local? Is it mixed? Is it state? That is done through case law. So it's the courts will rule. It's done through statutes and legislation. So oftentimes statutes passed by the state legislator will specifically state what type of concern it is and how they have the authority to regulate it. So I keep mentioning this home rule thing, and I went back and forth on where to include it in this presentation because it's complicated. So most towns, not all, in Summit County are home rule. And we follow a council manager form of government. So when a town wants to become a home rule, they have to go through a big process. They have to go to the state legislator. And it essentially allows the town to have more autonomy, authority over things that are matters of local concern. You have to have that home rule charter, that town constitution. It lives in my office. And the most recent town to become a home rule is actually Keystone. They are the newest town, well, home rule town in Colorado. And so think of that like a type, right? And then the structure of the town, like the form of it, is the council manager government. So town council, which Carol Sade, as you know, is a council member, is elected by the registered voters of Breckenridge in town limits. Council makes laws for the town. And mayor is the leader of town council, but does not manage town staff. So if you wanted not Keely, Mayor Kelly Owens is not at town hall every day telling staff what to do. Town council has hired a professional town manager to do that. So the town manager has oftentimes an extensive experience and resume in government administration, and they are hired. Appointed is another word you'll hear used. And the town manager is the one who directs town staff and manages daily operations. So our town council. The council, like I mentioned previously, is elected by registered voters in town of Breckenridge limits. I live in Wilderness and Silverthorne, outside of Silverthorne limits. I'm not voting for town council for Breckenridge because I do not live in the limits of town. During our town elections, voters choose the mayor, council members, and town ballot issues. A good example of a ballot issue would be if we wanted to raise sales tax within town limits. Our town elections do not elect the President of the United States. We do not elect the governor of Colorado in town elections. We also don't elect county officials in town elections. It is just for the town of Breckenridge Town Council and town ballot issues. Our town elections are in April of even years. And then our next election is April of 2026. And then our town council is made up of 1 mayor and 6 council members. And we have a photo to the left. Town council has a lot of different roles, but I'm going to focus on the main ones, which is a legislative body. This is a fancy way to say it's a government body that makes town law. They pass town law. They also function as judges for certain public hearings. This is called a quasi-judicial body. So it's not a court of law, right? A good way to phrase this is things that often receive public hearings are town development projects. And if that project is called for a public hearing, the town council essentially judges, does that project meet law, regulation, policy? And then members also serve on commissions as the liaison to town council. So the town of Breckenridge has different powers and authority. All of it is limited to town limits. So the town of Breckenridge cannot direct residents of the town of Frisco. It's limited to our limits. And this is a list of the different powers and authority. I'll pick out some of the main ones. Taxation. Preserving the peace, we have a police force, and we also have a municipal or town court. We, town of Breckenridge regulates licenses and businesses in the town. We issue licenses for liquor, marijuana, and tobacco. Regulate building, construction, and control land use. Protect public health and safety. And if you want to know more, I recommend reading the Town of Breckenridge Town Code. It's very light reading. That was sarcasm. So we kind of discussed who is on town council and how they get there. And there are different types of town council meetings. So these are public meetings. They are broadcast on Zoom. And they occur on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. And they're essentially split into two parts on the same day. So the work session is roughly 2 to 6 p.m. It might fluctuate based on the agenda. And this is exactly what it says. It's for work and broad discussion. In this meeting, you'll see presentations like this one. Council feedback on legislative items. Staff will give updates. And then town council will often ask questions and have, again, the bulk of their discussion during this time. An important thing to note during the work session is public comments are not taken. So public really is not speaking during the work session. The regular meeting, I like to call serious business. It's all serious, but it's the start time is 7 p.m. sharp. And this is where official meeting minutes and votes are taken. So the council will vote on ordinances, resolutions, and those public hearings. They'll give their official yes and no votes. This is where the public comments. And the public has multiple opportunities to comment during a regular meeting. There's just a general section at the beginning of the meeting where everyone has 3 minutes to say whatever they want to council. It doesn't have to be for a specific agenda item. And then for each agenda item, there is usually a public hearing as well. And this is for council bills and not resolutions, council bills and ordinances. You also have the presentation of proclamations. You'll have commission updates from council members. And this is where also official public hearings take place. So those quasi-judicial hearings I spoke about earlier and public hearings for town ordinances. So I'm sure you guys are all familiar with an agenda packet. I have seen yours. Town council does the same thing. Our agenda packets are public record of the council meeting. And it essentially provides all the information on the agenda that the council will be discussing at that Tuesday meeting. The town manager determines what is added to agenda packets. These are published the Thursday before Tuesday town council's meeting. So I will be publishing a packet tomorrow for next Tuesday's meeting. And like the Social Equity Advisory Commission packets, these are also found on the town calendar on the town's website. Where it's different is town council has 2 packets. We have one for the work session and one for the regular meeting. So this is going to be a key idea from this presentation, which is the legislative items that town council passes. So a council bill is a proposed local law introduced by a town council member. So a council bill becomes an ordinance once it goes through the process, is what I'm trying to say. So think of a council bill as a draft ordinance. And once a council bill is passed by town council, it becomes an ordinance, which is a local law. So it is a law. Ordinances are permanent. They can only be changed by passing a new ordinance. Ordinances are used to regulate activities, prohibit criminal acts, change town code, and more. A good example of what might be something passed by an ordinance is the nicotine flavor ban that was recently passed. And we keep copies of all the ordinances that have been passed, all of them. We have safes and things, but all the ones from 2025 you can easily find on the website under public notices. So now I'm going to go through that process of how a council bill becomes an ordinance. So town staff and town council draft the proposed council bill. Town voters also have the power to propose ordinances to town council. This is called an initiative. And it has its own process that really needs its own presentation. So I will not be touching on that today. And so once a council bill is drafted, it is brought to town council for first reading. On the agenda, it will be under new business in the regular town council meeting. So this is going to happen at 7 p.m. So during first reading, council members can request changes to the council bill. Town council takes first vote on the proposed council bill. Majority of council must vote yes to pass the council bill. If it passes, it can move on to second reading. It's not a law yet. Council bills have to be published on the town website for 5 days for public review. And that's what this webpage serves as. So you can find them there. So at the next following town council meeting is when a council bill is presented for second reading. This will be under continued business of the regular meeting. Staff presents the final draft of the council bill. A public hearing is held on the council bill. And the public can provide their feedback. Council takes a vote on the council bill. Majority of the council must vote yes to pass the council bill. If it passes, that's when it becomes an ordinance and a town law. But we're not done yet. An ordinance has to be published on the town website for 5 days for public review. And then an ordinance becomes effective at the minimum 30 days after the 5th date of website publication. Some effective dates might be later than that 30 days. A good example is there's a council bill right now for building codes that Town of Breckenridge, Town of Frisco, and I think Summit County are considering these building codes adoptions. And the effective dates are all going to be in January. So everyone is like on the same page with the effective dates. So they're essentially the town can like choose an effective date later, but it cannot be the 29th day. If that makes sense. Why are we waiting? I'm glad you asked. This is to allow time for another town voter power called a referendum. So town voters can protest an ordinance. Another something with its own process that I will not be touching on today. So I'm a visual person and I wanted to just visually kind of demonstrate this. So we're looking at this month, September 2025. I'm just going to call it Council Bill number 1 as our example. We had Council Bill number 1 presented for first reading on Tuesday, September 9th. I, as the town clerk, usually publish council bills at the latest on Thursday, the Thursday following town council. And it's published on the website for at least 5 days. I'm not taking the council bill down, so it's more than 5 days in practice. This is also the time that if in this first meeting, town council requested any changes to the draft of the council bill, it's usually made in this time. Then on the 4th Tuesday, which is this upcoming town council, Council Bill number 1 will undergo its second reading. Staff will know any changes made from between the first and second reading when they present it to council again. Town council takes its vote. It did take a vote here, but this is the vote that changes it from a council bill to an ordinance if it passes. Town clerk will publish it to the website for 5 days. So we have that 5-day waiting period. And then kind of scrolling to October, the 29th would be, if it was 5th day of publication was on September 29th, will not be able to take effect until 30 days. So October 29th. And again, this is to allow for the referendum process, if there is one. If there are no objections, the law is effective until another ordinance is passed to revoke it. Another legislative item is resolutions. Where an ordinance is a law, a resolution is a formal expression of opinion, will, or intent from a town government. These are the best way to explain resolutions is they're often used to designate staff to take action, and administration, it's more in that realm. It requires town council to take a vote and must pass with majority vote. And then it takes effect immediately once it's passed. There's no 30-day waiting period. We post resolutions to the town website. And these are used to direct town manager to take designated action. Adopt rules of procedure for governing body. adopt personnel policies, and more. Resolutions often include intergovernmental agreements. And I think another example that was recent was when they changed the parking rates in the town-owned parking garages. That was done by resolution. Next one is proclamations. These aren't really legislative items, but they occur in the regular meeting often. And so these are broad statements expressing local government support for a particular issue or for emergency measures. These are issued by the mayor. They do not require a vote, but the mayor usually must notify town council. There's no publication requirements, but the town still posts to the website. And by publication requirements, I mean like 5-day posting to the website, that publication requirement. Examples are proclamation of Pride Month that happened in June. And then fire restriction, it's in town limits. So we kind of talked about one side of the town government, which is the town council and their roles, authority, their functions, their structure, what they're doing. And when town's council does all of that, it is the town of Breckenridge town manager and staff to execute the ordinances, resolutions, and actions passed and supported by council. And so that's where the town manager comes in. Town manager is responsible for those daily operations and conduct of town staff. She is giving the day-to-day directions on how to execute. Our town manager, Shannon Haynes. And she has support staff with the deputy town manager, Scott Reed. And then there is also an assistant town manager. So just a quick overview of staff and departments for the town of Breckenridge. There are 608 employees, 210 full-time, 398 part-time and seasonal employees. Employees are spread across 10 different departments. And so here's a list of it, but of course we got to talk more. So just to provide you a brief overview, I think this is always helpful. So if you need help, you kind of have a general idea of where you know where to go. Community development, I kind of think of them anything that has to do with the land. If you need a building permit, zoning, planning those town projects, dark sky, open space and trails, and more are with community development. Finance does what you would expect finance to do. But some things they also handle that might not be intuitive is business and sales tax licensing, water billing, and then they also assist with the short-term rental licensing. Human resources is workplace personnel management, staff recruitment, hiring, and more. Municipal services and community engagement is my department that I am in. That is directed by Helen. And that Floor is also a part of. And we do liquor, marijuana, tobacco, the cemetery, municipal court, election coordination. If there is a records request for public records, that's municipal services. The vital records. And then marketing, community outreach, and all the wonderful things that communications does. Then we have the police. And they enforce town code. They are part of emergency response. They also do some community engagement and outreach and more. There's a lot of and mores. Public Works is located on Airport Road. It's not here in Town Hall. And these are all the people with the big trucks. So it's engineering, facilities, so that's the town buildings and stuff. Fleet, town of Breckenridge owns a lot of vehicles, buses, transit, and so there's fleet management. Transit, streets and parks, water, and sustainability. I think recreation is probably the ones you might have contact with the most sometimes. We have some fantastic facilities that the recreation department manages. The Rec Center, the golf course, Gold Run Nordic Center, not Breckenridge Nordic Center, ice rink. If you rent Carter Park, head to recreation. But if you want a liquor license for Carter Park, please come to me. And then after school program and summer camps. And then administration is town manager Shannon Hayes and her support staff. So Scott Reed is in the administration department. We have a grant administrator. And then we also have a town attorney. Information technology is IT. So all the computers, I call them a lot for these council chambers, and all the software and hardware that the town uses for technology. And then last but certainly not least is housing. And Lori Best, you guys have met before. So it's workforce housing, housing helps, buy downs, new development, and more. That's all I have for you today. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Like this.
Thank you, May. I don't have any questions. It was a
Perfect.
very thorough presentation.
Thank you.
But I'll be calling you individually on other things.
Okay.
Appreciate the presentation, man. I'm super excited about that. What is it? Beginner's Guide to Local Government Initiative. This is gonna be so cool.
There is more in the works to come. So if you are interested in these kind of topics, a beginner's guide to local government is in the works. And that is all I can say at this time.
One question. So like as far as our commission goes with how long it can take a bill to become an ordinance,
Mhm.
would it be like best for us to give our opinion after the first reading?
I will also have Scott jump in on this too. But if it's coming from the commission, I would think it's best if it comes before first reading.
Agree. The more you can
Concur.
get done before
For that first read.
first reading, the better. The more work we can do ahead of time, the better.
I would think of first reading as a second to the final draft.
Gotcha.
We don't want to be making major changes, but more emergent changes. Changes brought up by the public, town council, that kind of thing. But I would think before first reading.
Cool.
Great question.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. This is so thorough. We can see your passion for sure and the knowledge that you have. And so really appreciate the time that you took to put this together.
Happy to be here.
Do you have any questions?
Quería decir. Gracias, primeramente,
Well, thank you
por la presentación
for your presentation.
y creo que esto sería bonito para dar la educación a la comunidad aquí en Breckenridge.
And this would be good to give this type of education to our local community in Breckenridge,
Para saber qué es lo que hace el pueblo local,
to know what the town does,
el estado
the state
y federal.
and federal.
Totally. And that is, I think, the goal of our beginner guide to local government. Can't say much at this time because it's still in the draft phases, undergoing daily changes. But I understand the importance of those topics, and a goal of this course is to make it accessible for everyone, all community members, whether you received American Government 101 in your high school, which is required by a lot of community state laws, or you haven't. So it will be something touching on the different layers of government and going more in depth is something, excuse me, is something I hope to discuss more in that education series. But I'm glad to hear that and know it is something desired by the community.
We're gonna hit pay dirt. So excited.
Sí, porque nos enfrentamos a veces con situaciones
Yes, because sometimes we encounter situations
en la cual, por ejemplo, lo que me pasó hace un mes, sobre la carretera que tiene del highway allá en Frisco.
Where, for example, last month, what happened to me when I was talking about the roads in Frisco.
Y todos nos sorprendimos que estaba en la reunión que eso es del federal, parte de la carretera, no nada más de Frisco y lamentablemente todos quedamos sorprendidos.
And it was surprising to learn that some roads are controlled federally, not just state. And that was, we were all very surprised to learn that.
Completely understand. And it's something that I still learn every day. You know, what is deemed a statewide, local mix concern and jurisdiction is information that you sometimes have to search for. So it's not even intuitive to me all the time.
Muchas gracias.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much for your time and attention. And
Right.
I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
She needs to push it to the sides.
Very nice meeting you this evening. Thank you so much. So then we also have two seat vacancies that we are looking to fill. Floor, Carol, and myself. We have had five candidates. So we are going to get them interviewed soon, and then we'll provide an update. If anyone would like to be involved in the interview process, to let us know. And Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation is scheduled for September 23rd. That has the wrong year.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
25.
2025. And the proclamation is in the packet for us to read, and if there are any feedback we'd like to give, to provide that. And then on to subcommittee updates. There's nothing from the Celebrate Diversity and Community Outreach. So there's no update there. Immigration rights and advocacy. It looks like we are going to have the Mexican consulate back in town, which is wonderful. That event was amazing last year. Are there any other updates from that subcommittee that you'd like to highlight?
Civic engagement, can you guys talk about the grant? That.
Sure, I'll talk about the grant. We met last Tuesday? This Tuesday. Last Tuesday. Yep. Yeah, we did meet past Tuesday. We had a grant request from Summit Middle School for some community engagement series that they are hoping to do to target the challenges of our middle school youth. They really were looking for financial support for the implementation of these sorts of engagement series, showing movies, licenses to show movies for this sort of community engagement. They'll be using certain texts to engage the community within this series, and they needed a little bit of financial support to have copies of these texts provided in both English and in Spanish. We as a subcommittee, yeah, I guess we did. Yeah, we decided to move forward with that grant for the full requested amount of $2,500 to help support those initiatives.
If anybody, any objections? Otherwise, we will move forward. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No objection on that, but just to jump back real quick to the immigration subcommittee, they had also spoke about trying to get a Honduras consulate
Mhm.
here, but theirs works a little bit differently. But that is a significant population that we're seeing with some need for some help. So we're going to try to work on getting some information on that as well.
It was Nicaragua.
Oh, I thought they said Honduras. Okay.
Yeah.
Forgive me, I'm wrong.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can continue to be a hub for that type of help for our community. And if it's in Nicaragua, next, just finding out those needs in our community to be able to help. Then yeah, I think we're good on our subcommittees, unless anyone had anything else to add.
We have our, oh, I was just gonna say, we have our last community bike ride tomorrow. If any other council members, or sorry, commission members would like to come say hello.
What time will that be?
5:30, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. So if anyone is free tomorrow, 5:30 down at Avalanche
Yeah, south.
Sports.
Yep,
Um,
north end.
on the north end of Main Street, come learn how to ride a bike or ride a bike.
Ride bikes.
Yeah. Perfect. And then we just have some upcoming community events. We have the Building Hope Walk with Hope on September 28th at 9 a.m. through noon at Summit Middle School. My Spanish is not good enough to read this next one, and I don't want to. Laura, would you mind helping me?
Grupo de apoyo para madres o padres sobre regulación y desarrollo emocional. Support group for mothers or fathers about regulation, emotional regulation and development. Yeah, that's how it translates.
Awesome. Well, that is very important, and I think everyone needs to learn how to do that at some point in their lives. Not just parents teaching their children, but that will be on October 2nd from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Do we know where that'll be?
Dillon Valley Elementary School.
Awesome. And that'll be at Dillon Valley Elementary School. And I'm really excited. That seems like a really awesome event. And then we also have upcoming is Dia de los Muertos Festival, October 15th through the 17th. And we've worked with Breck Create on that, and Jill has been amazing. And the information she's provided so far on what their plan is for the event is beautiful. And I'm so excited to get to support that community here in Breckenridge, and to learn so much more about the importance of Dia de los Muertos to our community, and how valuable that is to learn about a new culture.
I just did want to say that it's going to be in Spanish, but let as many people as you think that could attend to that, the Building Hope Grupo de Apoyo or support group, just because I feel like, especially with everything that has happened in the last couple of days, this is very important. I know by experience that when you go through some traumatic things like the events that have happened as a kid, it's very different than you do when you're an adult. So it's very important that we get this information out to our kids, and that our parents can learn and help them through, as I'm sure Michelle, who's our ECE expert or early childhood development, can let us know the importance of. So let everyone know, please, because I think it now more than ever is very valuable.
Is there a flyer or?
Yes, I can send it out to the
That'd be
commission.
awesome. Thank you.
And Flores, I've experienced something similar as a child too, and it's something that stays with you for the rest of your life. So I echo your sentiments there.
And then on to upcoming council discussions. Did we? I think we're good. If there, are there any that anyone wanted to talk about more? Okay, wonderful. Cool. Well, I thank everyone for coming here this evening and being here. Oh, do we have any public comment? Scott?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I almost forgot.
Nope, we only have ourselves and Carol.
Okay, perfect.
June has something.
I have.
Other matters.
Something that I'd like to share with everyone. I belong to a group that's entitled Service Never Sleeps. And at our last commission meeting, I was very concerned with personal allyship and like attending this upcoming meeting through Building Hope. There is a free online virtual allyship training that is coming up in November. It is not for, specifically for our commission members, but if anyone is personally interested, and I'd be happy to share a link so you could register. It is allyship training, care, learn, act, influence, and maintain on November 5th and 6th from 1 to 4:30 Eastern Time each day. It will be via Zoom. And, if personal allyship ever needed to be expressed, I think now is the time and upcoming times. So I'll send that out to everybody. Again, it is individual, not, official commission.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, June.
You're welcome.
And yeah, other matters? Are there any more other matters? No? Awesome. Cool. I'd love to adjourn today's meeting. I need a second.
I'll second.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here for today's Breckenridge Social Equity Advisory Commission. I do love you all, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Good to see everybody this evening.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Hope you feel better, Carol.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, bye.
Scott, what's the date for the skate park ribbon cutting? Do we have a date for that?
Home? Home?
Yeah.